What is up, dudes? This is Fifer. I'm so happy to have your attention for a minute, and it is my honor to bring you Sheriff Rudy Flores. Well, hello, sir.
Good morning.
It's really nice to have you.
Absolutely.
Well, guys, I'm here at Old Magnolia as usual, but something's a little bit different. One, I'm actually on camera today.
Absolutely.
And two, I have our Sheriff Rudy Flores here to just pick his brain and ask him a couple questions. It is about him, but I know that this is one of the most interesting people in our city, so I feel like a lot of people will like this video, so I decided to make it.
That might be a little debatable, but
It sure
we'll
will.
give it a shot.
I'm hoping it is debatable. I hope it's all debated underneath the video in the comments. That's my plan.
There we go.
That's my plan. Because you're going to have a chance to just, to spread whatever message you have and just tell us a little about yourself. You've inspired me from things that I've learned about you and things you told me over the years now. Goodness.
Thank you.
And so I feel like if I put it in that camera and put it on social media, you might get to a couple more people.
Well, good.
All right, that's
good.
my only mission here, and that is my task. So we're gonna get right to it, just so we don't take up too much of your time while inspiring you with his story. All right. So the first question is my favorite question, which I'm gonna be asking everybody, and it is, if your life was a book, what would be the chapters?
Well, I gave that a little bit of thought, and I think my life breaks up into chapters, quite nicely.
Mm-hmm.
I would have to say one of the major ones would be how it started and what I would call the island years. I was born and raised on Galveston Island. Mm-hmm. My family was in commercial shrimping business there, and my formative years were there. My mother and father and the influence they had on me growing up, and in the tight-knit community we were in. But as my career started, it took me away from the island, and I've never really returned. So it's a separate chapter.
Yes.
Yeah,
it is.
Beyond the island years, I'd have to say, as my career, and I started so very early in my law enforcement career, that chapter would probably be on the road, because it took me from the island to the mainland. I was a deputy sheriff. I did that for several years. Even though I became a police officer in the city later, I stayed living on the mainland. Yeah. And there is a separate identity between the two, the mainland and the island.
Yeah.
And then when I joined DPS back in 1988, it took me even further and moved me around the state in various locations. So I stayed on the road to the end of that chapter of my life as a Texas Ranger, and did a few other things, but came back to law enforcement after retirement. And now the final chapter in my career, I think, is at the jail.
Yeah. Okay.
So there's probably a lot of other chapters here and there, but those are maybe three of the main chapters that would concern my life.
Heck yeah, that's beautiful. And a lot of times, I brought up this chapter question in general. One is a really good way to organize your life, right? When you're like discussing it with me on camera, whatever, cool. So it's like that homework. But the other part is from the viewer's standpoint, there's been nothing that's helped me more get through things, right? Finish chapters, transition chapters. It's a space between where all the anxiety happens, right?
Yes,
when you're in the chapter, you pretty much are in your routine, everything's pretty straightforward. It may not be the best chapter, but you're in that chapter and you've accepted whatever that reality is. There's a huge opportunity for inspiration in between those chapters. So
when you start a chapter, it will end.
Yes.
You'll move on.
Has to.
Yes.
Yeah. So in that question, you just went through not just those, 3 chapters?
Yes.
Not just 3 chapters, but also 3 transitions.
Yes.
3 implied transitions.
Yes, very big transitions in my life.
Yeah. So if you're going through a transition, just know, it's a transition. There's a beginning to your chapter and an end to your chapter. There's a beginning to your transition, and there's an end to your transition too. So if it's stressing you out, there's an end to it also.
That's it.
Just get excited for whatever the next chapter is.
Very good. Good to see you.
So let's get into the actual questions. Thank you so much for
Absolutely.
I can tell you spent time thinking about that, and I do appreciate that, because that's my favorite question.
It's a good one. Very, very much.
Doing well, good to see you. All right, can you tell me or tell us about a pivotal moment or experience that shaped your personal or professional journey?
There's one that affected both, personal and professional.
All right.
Growing up on the island, I was an athlete. I wasn't the greatest. I was, fair to mediocre at best, but I really enjoyed sports, and I enjoyed the teaching, the mentoring or coaching that would go with that, and some good relationships I had with coaches over the years.
Yes.
So that was my thought, is that after high school, that I would become a high school football coach, and I needed to work my way through college. Now I needed a good, steady job, and one of my former teammates, his mother was secretary at the sheriff's office. She was the executive assistant to the head of the jail in Galveston County Sheriff's Office.
That's so cool.
And we got to talking, and he said, my mother, they have an employee. She opened, they just had an employee resign. He got me an interview with her, and she got me the interview with the chief deputy, and whoa, you know, all of a sudden I'm hired. I started work there in August 1982, and that was pivotal because I fell in love with that and becoming a coach in a high school teacher. Just kind of went by the wayside, and my whole career, you know, I had an interest in history and reading about the Texas Rangers and stuff, but I never considered that as an option or a career. And it became evident that this was my new life path.
This was it, yeah.
This was it.
I can tell you, I'm not at all surprised about you being interested in being a coach or anything like that, just because it's all over your personality. I'm sure it's been pivotal indeed in your leadership role.
Absolutely. In my previous career, I was a team leader in various things, and the coaching and mentoring always was part of the aspect that I saw and really enjoyed. And here, since I've taken office as sheriff, a lot of people will preach a family environment, and I don't. I said, well, you know, family is what we're stuck with sometimes.
Yeah.
We can't do much with them except love them.
Right.
But coaching is a team, and we try to put together an outfit with a common goal, a common desire. We enjoy what we're doing, and we move people to the best place for them so they can be successful. We can't have everybody being a quarterback. We definitely need other players to do other things.
There's a lot more acceptance and come as you are and stay as you are, let's just stay together mentality when it comes to family, which is great. Because a lot of times when you're at your lowest or whatever, all you have is your family left. So that you need all that grace and whatnot. When it comes to having an actual mission like your team does,
we have a goal.
There's a very clear goal that is very important. We all need to be like. There are actual rules that we need to follow, and you know,
and that's it.
And that's and it's tough love sometimes, and sometimes it's just tough.
It is, but you know, we're gelling. We're a little over 2 years into my first term, and I'm really happy with the direction we're going. I'm happy with the way the team is forming and gelling, and they're seeing that same vision that I have. And a team is an organization where people get together and do what they like doing. With a common goal, and that's happening there.
Beautiful. Yep. I'm sure that has a ton to do with that pivotal moment, for sure.
Sir.
Because you took that with you. You wagered the two.
Oh,
when you started in that new job, you're like, well, wait, I was going to.
I had other plans, but
like, wait a minute. But your heart was pulling you, and unfortunately, you were able to knock out both. All right. Question number 2, and we are doing a great job as far as time goes, and I do again appreciate your time.
Absolutely. Sir.
What are some key lessons you've learned throughout your career? And how have they influenced your approach to work and life? And you can paraphrase any part of that question. That's a lot of questions.
Well, you know, no. There's. I probably learned from the mentors and coaches in my career that influenced me about integrity and the way you do things, and breaking it down just real simple. If you're going to do something, do it well.
Yes.
Anything worth doing should be done well.
Yes.
If you're going to do it. Do anything. If you say, I will do this, make sure you carry through and do those things, and make sure you never engage in activity you'd be ashamed for your mama to find out about.
That's it.
You know, that keeps you in your integrity and your core together.
Right. And now your mama might like all kinds of stuff. That's up to you. But as long as you're okay with it, you probably will be something that you can put your energy into.
You want to have those things. As another little section in my life, as I transitioned from the law enforcement role in uniform to become a Texas Ranger at DPS, one of the old captains gave me some advice. You know, and at the time I didn't think that he was being too serious because it was so very concise. He said, wear your hat, take a lot of notes, and don't let anybody give you any, you know, guff.
Any of that stuff.
Yeah, that stuff. And I thought he was just messing with me, but over the years, it became evident it was very simple. And I tried to analyze it. It's where your hat. What he was saying is a command presence.
That's
Hold
it.
yourself to a certain way and look a certain way and act a certain way in that command presence.
It's a personal agreement when you put that hat on your
That's
head.
it. If you remember the opening scene from Patton, when the actor walks out on the stage as General George S. Patton, and he's in front of a huge flag, and he's wearing his full dress uniform with all his awards. That command presence, he captured the entire room when he walked out there. Because he was there to take care of business. And there was no question who was in charge.
You weren't sure what the business was, but you knew he was about to take care of it. You were about to go find out.
Then that take a lot of notes. For me, that turned into attention to detail, quality control, be thorough, be precise, dot the I's and cross the T's, and do those things well that you're going to engage in. And then don't let anybody give you any stuff. Was never negotiate the aspects of your job. Your integrity should guide you. Do the right thing because it's the right thing to do.
It's a line.
At all times.
Yeah.
You know, dig your heels in, stand there, you know, like a statue and say, no,
that's it. Yeah.
I'm doing this because it has to be done.
Yeah. Oh, gosh, I deeply appreciate it. Well, you've already given a lot of advice, but if there was one piece of advice that you could leave that one viewer that's just looking for that one thing, what would you say would be one piece of advice you'd give us?
If you can find what you love and somehow figure out how to make a living doing it, you're never going to work a day in your life. You know, I retired, and you know, I completed my journey at the place I was working, but I was drawn back to it. I'm doing this because I felt called to serve. There were other things happening in our world. You know, the incident at Santa Fe High School. I was just miles away from there. I went to Santa Fe School at one time. The chief of police at the high school, he and I went from kindergarten all the way to the police department together in our lifetimes. So those things drew me back, and it was back to doing something I love. I get up every day, and I'm happy to go to work.
Real measurable change and help that you're giving to communities that you have a personal tie to.
That's it.
You can't really, you know, I get it.
Yeah, the social aspect, the social media aspect of my life is very visible now because of the job I have. But that's because I want everybody to know that we're involved in all aspects of the community as the Sheriff's Office, and I represent the face of the Sheriff's Department, but the men and women of the Sheriff's Office are the ones who make everything happen. I work a lot of hours. That team, you know, somebody's got to be the coach on the sidelines, but the players are playing the game and taking care of us. And I was very, very blessed recently. The Palestine Herald Press Reader's Choice, I got 2 awards as top county official and top law enforcement officer, but the credit goes to the people who scored the touchdowns, you know, not to the coach, to the people who are out there playing the game and doing the job.
Bingo. That's beautiful. That is beautiful. If you can find something that you love and find a way to make a living with it, that is a life you won't work. It's not work.
It'll be wonderful. You'll never work a day in your life. You'll enjoy it every day.
Well, guys, this has been Rudy Flores, and I am so honored to have a chance to put this video in front of you. I say that right now, sitting in front of the camera. Hopefully everything has worked well on the back end. It's very anxious, so you can imagine me being on this side of the camera, because I'm looking at the camera really hard to make sure like everything's good. But I think it should be great, man. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate your time.
The opportunity.
I know you guys are going to appreciate all this value and this information he's given us. And look out for more. We're going to keep doing these.
Absolutely. Thank you much.
Thanks so
take
much.
Care.
See you later. There you go. Thank you so much.